20,000 people simply vanished from the face of the earth. They did not march into the horizon in search of new continents, nor did they sail across unforgiving oceans to find a better life. Instead, they willingly surrendered the warmth of the sun, abandoning the open sky to bury themselves deep within the crushing darkness of the underground. They descended 85 meters below the surface, carving out an impossible megalopolis in the bowels of the planet. But here is the most chilling part of this ancient narrative. They were not running from a marching army. They were not hiding from the swords, spears, or arrows of rival empires. So, what terrifying entity, what apocalyptic event on the horizon or up in the heavens, forced an entire civilization to dig their own graves and call it a home? For decades, we have been told that our ancient ancestors were primitive, focused only on basic survival, farming, and simple warfare. But beneath the arid, windswept plains of Cappadocia in modern-day Turkey, a sleeping giant lies hidden, waiting to tear those history books into shreds. It remained in absolute silence for thousands of years, a ghost city swallowed by the earth, completely erased from human memory. The revelation did not come from a grand scientific expedition. It did not come from satellite imagery or ground-penetrating radar. It happened by pure, unsettling coincidence. In the year 1963, a local man in the town of Derinkuyu was simply renovating his house. He took a sledgehammer to a basement wall that had stood in his way. As the stone crumbled and the dust settled, he did not find solid earth behind it. Instead, a cold, ancient draft of air swept over his face, carrying the heavy scent of deep geological time. Behind his wall was a dark, narrow tunnel leading down into an abyss. He stepped inside, completely unaware that he was crossing the threshold into one of the most profound and unexplained mysteries in the history of human civilization. What the archaeologists found when they followed that tunnel down was not a mere cave. It was not a simple cellar or a temporary bunker. It was an astonishing, sprawling subterranean metropolis, intricately designed and perfectly preserved. We are talking about 18 distinct levels plunging 85 meters into the Earth's crust. To put that into perspective, imagine a 25-story modern skyscraper, but built entirely upside down, carved directly into solid rock, plunging straight into the pitch-black underworld. The sheer scale of Derinkuyu induces a sense of profound vertigo. It was designed to comfortably house up to 20,000 men, women, and children simultaneously. And they did not just bring themselves, they brought their livestock, their horses, their sheep, thousands of tons of grain, hundreds of gallons of oil and wine, creating a fully self-sustaining ecosystem completely isolated from the surface world. Modern engineers and architects stare at the blueprints of Derinkuyu with absolute bewilderment. Digging a hole in the ground is one thing, but excavating a subterranean city of this magnitude, removing millions of cubic feet of solid rock without collapsing the geological strata above, is an engineering miracle that defies all logical explanation. We are talking about a civilization that supposedly only possessed simple hand tools made of bronze or iron, yet they carved through the volcanic tough rock with an absolute understanding of load-bearing architecture, structural integrity, and deep earth geology. Not a single level has collapsed in over thousands of years. It is a level of precision that goes far beyond their era. And then there is the chilling problem of the rubble. To hollow out a city of this size, millions of tons of excavated rock had to be brought to the surface and disposed of. Yet not a single massive dumping ground of this specific rock has ever been found in the surrounding landscape. It is as if the stone simply vanished into thin air, leaving modern science completely baffled. But the structural integrity is only the beginning of the impossibilities. The deeper archaeologists ventured into the abyss of Derinkuyu, the more they realized they were looking at a machine of survival that bends our understanding of ancient capabilities. Let us talk about breathing. If you trap 20,000 people and herds of animals 85 meters underground, the oxygen supply will deplete in a matter of hours. The carbon dioxide buildup would become a silent, invisible killer, suffocating the entire population in a mass underground tomb. Yet, the builders of Derinkuyu conquered this invisible enemy with a ventilation system so advanced, it leaves modern aerodynamic experts speechless. They carved more than 15,000 individual ventilation shafts, weaving them through the rock like the veins and arteries of a living organism. These shafts were not just random holes. They were calculated with terrifying precision to regulate air pressure, ensuring that fresh oxygen was continuously pulled from the surface and delivered all the way down to the 18th level while toxic air was expelled. How did they calculate fluid dynamics and air pressure without computers, without sensors, without advanced mathematics? The scientific community has absolutely no answer. They can only document the shafts, label them, and quietly ignore the impossible genius required to build them. And if you still believe this was just a place to hide from passing armies, consider the doors. At every strategic choke point in the city, the corridors could be sealed shut by massive, perfectly circular stone doors. These megalithic discs weighed up to 500 kilograms each. But here's the detail that sends shivers down the spine. These massive stones were engineered to be easily rolled into place and locked exclusively from the inside. There were no handles, no hinges, no mechanisms on the outside. Once that door rolled shut, the outside world ceased to exist. Whatever was out there, whatever they were hiding from, was locked out permanently. It was the ultimate statement of absolute isolation. Historians have spent decades comfortably categorizing Derinkuyu as a simple refuge from invading armies. They paint a picture of local populations retreating underground for a few weeks to avoid marauding forces. But the deeper we dig into the archaeological evidence, the more this mainstream narrative completely falls apart. It collapses under the weight of its own logical inconsistencies. Let us look at the cold, hard facts found within the stone walls. If this was a military fortress or a temporary bunker to hide from human enemies, where are the armories? Where are the stockpiles of weapons, the swords, the shields, the spearheads? They are entirely absent. Furthermore, if an invading army of Romans, Persians, or Mongols knew that 20,000 people were hiding right beneath their feet, they would not need to break down those massive stone doors. They would simply locate the surface ventilation shafts, block them, or pour toxic smoke and burning pitch down into the city. A human enemy would have turned Derinkuyu into a mass grave within days. Yet there are no mass graves. There is no evidence of slaughter or siege. Instead, archaeologists uncovered something far more unsettling. They found large subterranean dining halls. They found elaborate wine and oil presses carved with meticulous care into the solid volcanic rock. They found massive stables with stone troughs designed to hold thousands of animals. They even discovered a huge, high-vaulted room that served as a religious school, complete with adjacent study rooms for children. You do not build an intricate, subterranean school for your children if you are only hiding from a passing army for a month. You build a school, a chapel, and an industrial wine press deep in the earth because you're preparing for a long, indefinite period of survival. You build them because you know that returning to the surface is not an option. This was not a temporary shelter. This was a permanent replacement for the world above. So, we are faced with a terrifying curiosity gap. If the enemy was not human, and if the threat could not simply be outweighed, what exactly was waiting for them on the surface? What could possibly compel an entire civilization to permanently abandon the sun and embrace eternal darkness? To find the answer, we must stop staring at the dirt and begin looking up at the stars. The secret of Derinkuyu might not be buried in the earth, but written in the violent, chaotic history of our cosmos. When we turn to the ancient sacred texts of the surrounding regions, a chilling pattern begins to emerge. In the Vendidad, one of the primary texts of the ancient Zoroastrian religion, we find a story that eerily mirrors the reality of Derinkuyu. The supreme creator deity, Ahura Mazda, comes down to the prophet Yima with a terrifying warning. He warns that a catastrophic, fatal winter is about to descend upon the world, a devastating cosmic event that will wipe out all life on the surface. Ahura Mazda commands Yima to build a colossal underground enclosure to house the fittest of men, women, and animals alongside the seeds of all plants, to survive the impending apocalypse. Mainstream scholars dismiss this as mere myth, a fairy tale from a primitive era. But modern astrophysics and geology are beginning to sing a very different, highly disturbing tune. Our planet exists in a dangerous, unpredictable cosmic neighborhood. We now know with absolute scientific certainty that the Earth has been repeatedly subjected to cataclysmic events from above. We have evidence of the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, where fragments of a disintegrating comet slammed into the Earth's atmosphere, triggering a sudden deep freeze and continent-wide wildfires around 12,000 years ago. We know about coronal mass ejections, massive solar flares from our own sun that can strip away the ozone layer, bombarding the surface with lethal doses of cosmic radiation and plunging the world into a state of boiling chaos. Imagine the absolute terror of a sky on fire. Imagine a sun that suddenly becomes a lethal enemy, radiating a heat so intense that the rivers boil and the forests turn to ash. Or imagine a sudden blinding impact from the heavens that blocks out the sun for centuries, locking the surface in an eternal deadly winter. Against threats of this cosmic magnitude, human weapons are utterly useless. Running is useless. The only logical, desperate option for survival is to dig. Derinkuyu suddenly makes perfect, horrifying sense. It was not a bunker against swords and arrows. It was a doomsday vault designed to withstand the wrath of the universe itself. This is the reality that mainstream science struggles to accept. It is far easier, far more comfortable, to label Derinkuyu as an architectural anomaly or a bizarre historical footnote. Acknowledging its true purpose requires admitting our own extreme vulnerability. It requires confessing that the very sky we live under can, at any moment, turn against us. The archaeologists, with all their advanced ground-penetrating radars and carbon dating equipment, are ultimately powerless to explain the psychological terror that drove those ancient builders. They stand in the dimly lit, silent halls of that underground world, desperately trying to measure the unmeasurable fear of an entire species facing extinction. Today, human beings proudly look up at the stars. We launch satellites, build telescopes, and dream of colonizing other planets, fueled by an unwavering belief in our own technological supremacy. We view the cosmos as our future playground. But thousands of years ago, our ancestors stood on the very same Earth, looked up at the very same heavens, and recognized a profound, terrifying truth. They understood that the universe is vast, indifferent, and incredibly dangerous. And they knew that sometimes the only way to ensure the survival of humanity is to turn your back on the sky, carve your way into the absolute darkness of the earth, and pray that the rocks above are thick enough to shield you from the apocalypse. Never forget to question the history you have been taught. The ground beneath our feet holds secrets that the world is not yet ready to hear. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below with your own theories about what they were hiding from, because in our next video we will uncover an ancient discovery that will change everything you thought you knew about our past. Der Song Pent T Tendo Ferne, the On N1042 Tour. 2NG so Turnmuth CT Cool 2 An Bo Kitchban, 2007-2000, Tur Buck 8 2 Don. Don't go I Tio Dare. Thumbnail SEO style mystery science documentary. Boo 5 TL Dare Viral clickbait. What scientists found buried 85 meters underground will terrify you. The hidden structure under Turkey that defies all scientific explanation. Why scientists still can't explain this ancient 20,000-person underground city. An ancient discovery that changed everything we knew about the sky. They didn't hide from humans. The terrifying truth revealed beneath Derinkuyu. Thumbnail Makeracks 3 MID Journey Prompts. Option 1 Kan Kaing Cook Dai Chi Tiet Bien Kovut Bermut. Imagine prompt. Macro close-up shot of a massive 500-kilogram circular stone door inside a dark underground tunnel, ancient chisel marks visible on the rough volcanic rock, dramatic natural light piercing through dust, deep geological texture richness, photorealistic cinematic mystery documentary, ultra-detailed ancient ruins and scientific expedition environment, sci-fi spaceship, alien tech, neon light, cartoon, anime, text, watermark, infographic, toy, low poly, glossy concept art, no text. Option 2, Gok Nin Ton Kank Fo Jithin Quimo Bien. Imagine prompt, wide cross-section shot of a massive multi-level underground city carved entirely into solid rock, plunging deep into the earth abyss. Thousands of dark interconnected tunnels and chambers, tiny scientists in expedition gear, visible for scale, photorealistic, cinematic mystery documentary, ultra-detailed ancient ruins, and scientific expedition in geological texture richness, dramatic natural lighting, volumetric fog, dust and sediment atmosphere, hidden history reveal mood, large-scale environmental storytelling, no fantasy glow, sci-fi city, cyberpunk, cartoon, anime, text, watermark, toy, diorama, fake museum display, no text. Option 3. Chorte Kwa Hok Dang Turng Tak Ve Dovet Biyun. Imagine prompt close-up shot of an archaeologist wearing scientific expedition gear and a headlamp interacting with a highly complex ancient ventilation shaft carved into solid stone, taking measurements in the deep dark underground, highly detailed investigative action, photorealistic cinematic mystery documentary, grounded archaeology realism, dramatic natural lighting, dust and Discovery Channel level realism, no fantasy magic, alien technology, neon glow, superhero styling, cartoon, anime, text, infographic overlay, watermark, glossy fake cinematic poster, no text. SEO Metadata Tour P3. Tags, archaeology, hidden civilization, ancient ruins, unexplained discovery, Derinkuyu underground city, cosmic threat, Younger Dryas impact, ancient catastrophe, buried history, scientists discovered, lost structures, ancient technology, solar flares, human history mysteries. Description hook. For decades, scientists believed the underground city of Derinkuyu was just a temporary bunker to hide from passing armies. But what they recently found, buried 85 meters beneath the surface, has shattered that theory completely. There are no mass graves. There are no weapons. Instead, evidence points to a terrifying reality. An entire civilization of 20,000 people permanently abandoned the sun to hide from a catastrophic threat falling from the sky. Why are historians still refusing to explain the true purpose of this massive survival machine? Watch until the end to uncover the chilling cosmic event our ancestors survived.